Hello dear students, in this video we will discuss ionic bond formation, how ionic bond is formed. Ionic bond is formed when metals and non-metals combine. You know that metals have 1, 2 or 3 electrons in their valence shell. Some elements have 1, some have 2 and some have 3 electrons, whereas non-metals have 5, 6 or 7 electrons in valence shell. In order to get stable configuration, metals and non-metals both either lose the electrons or gain electrons. Metals have a tendency to lose electrons when they undergo chemical combination. Similarly, non-metals have a tendency to gain electrons when they undergo chemical combination in order to complete their valence shell. When metals lose electrons, they form positive ions which are known as cations. For example, sodium. Sodium has 1 valence electron in its last shell. It prefers to lose it and forms sodium positive cation. Similarly, magnesium is having 2 electrons in its valence shell. It loses these 2 electrons and forms magnesium divalent anion, divalent cation. Non-metals, on the other hand, gain electrons and form negative ions which are known as anions. For example, chlorine. Chlorine has 7 electrons in its valence shell. It needs 1 electron to complete its octet and get stable. So, chlorine gains 1 electron and forms chlorine negative anion. Similarly, oxygen has 6 electrons in valence shell. It needs 2 electrons to complete its octet. That is why it forms O-2 anion. When metals and non-metals combine together, a strong force of attraction is held between their ions, that is, cation of metal and anion of non-metal, in the form of ionic bond. So, ionic bond is formed when cation of a metal and anion of a non-metal are combined together. The transfer of electrons takes place from metals to non-metals. Metals transfer electrons and these electrons are accepted by non-metal. When ionic bond formation takes place, many compounds are formed. Those compounds which are formed as a result of ionic bonding are known as ionic compounds. For example, NaCl, sodium chloride, KCl, potassium chloride, MgCl2, magnesium chloride. These are all ionic compounds. The electrons donated, accepted or shared by an atom is known as electrovalency. Now, what is the number of electrons that are lost by an atom, that are gained by an atom, or that are shared by an atom? That is known as electrovalency. For example, electrovalency of sodium is +1. Similarly, the electrovalency of chlorine is -1. Electrovalency of metals is positive, whereas electrovalency of non-metals is negative. Now let us see ionic bond formation in case of some ionic compounds. First, we will see in case of sodium chloride. Sodium chloride is formed when sodium and chlorine combine together. Sodium is a metal and chlorine is a non-metal. Sodium has 1 electron in valence shell. It wants to lose it. That is why it forms a cation in the form of Na positive. Chlorine has 7 electrons. It gains 1 electron that is lost by sodium. As a result, it acquires negative charge. and forms chlorine negative ion. So when sodium and chlorine are held together by force of attraction, that is ionic bond. Ionic bond is formed between the two and the compound NaCl is formed. Now let us see in case of magnesium chloride. Magnesium has two valence electrons. Chlorine has 7 electrons, it needs one more electron. Therefore, two chlorine atoms combine with magnesium. Both the two valence electrons of magnesium are excited by chlorine atom each. That is why we get magnesium chloride in the form of MgCl2. Now formation of potassium chloride. Potassium chloride is formed when potassium combines with chlorine. Potassium has one electron in its valence shell. It loses this valence electron that is accepted by chlorine. Chlorine has 7 electrons, it needs 1 electron. So when chlorine and potassium are combined together, they form ionic bond, and as a result we get the compound KCl, which is an ionic compound.